Welcome into Celtics Late Night. Ben Vallis here alongside Jake Eisenberg. And Jake, the Celtics got the win, but second half, not particularly awesome, but we're happy. We got salty Jake today or happy Jake?
No, we're happy. We're good.
Okay.
Look, it got down to 6 points, but, look, the Celtics are trying to find ways to keep themselves entertained, trying to make things interesting, and the newest way to do that was Jason Tatum has 31 points in the first half, and then that was too easy. So let's try and crank up the difficulty level, like playing Super Smash Bros. On very hard with one life. Let's do it. Let's not pass the ball to Jason Tatum for the second half and see if that helps, or if that makes things a little more challenging. And it was. And then they passed it to him, and then the game was over. So I liked it.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like whenever they passed the ball to Jason Tatum throughout the game, but particularly in the fourth quarter where we were floundering a little bit, things got a lot easier. There was a stretch late, big time loss of focus in that fourth quarter, obviously. The lead got cut to 6, and then Derek White 3. Awesome. Thank you, Derek White, who had been good defensively up until then, but not great offensively. Derek White 3, then Tatum checks back in. Immediately, JT fakes it out of the corner, pulls up from a step inside the corner, splash, 2 points. Then JB gets to the rim. There's just a little bit more spacing. Tatum's back in, commanding the court a little bit more. Suddenly, JB's got space. He spins to the rim. Then a Jaylen fadeaway 2 over Claxton. A Nets offensive foul on the other end, and then a Claxton tech out of frustration. The Nets did get it back to 6 after that point, but again, gave the ball back to Jason Tatum. Straight back in control of the game. The formula, it's too simple. Yes, Aussie Phil, this team does hate Walshy, it seems. But yeah, Tatum really the important focal point of this one, Jake.
Yeah, no, it was good. And look, that fourth quarter, a lot of that was Cam Thomas hitting just insane step back fadeaway threes over outstretched arms, and that was the only way they were able to get that thing back to within single digits. And it was 6 points, and then Tatum came back in and it was back out to 14 in the blink of an eye. And that's kind of been the mark of this team in this last 4 or 5 games here. We knew we were having a light stretch here, and they've just shown exactly why we were feeling like that. It's because when they are locked in, none of these teams have a chance in absolute hell. And yeah, Blorp's comment here: thoughts on Gordon Hayward and his worthiness to continue living. Look, he can live.
Did I miss something?
I don't think he's broken any laws that I'm aware or not aware of.
No controversial tweets from Gordo?
He's gonna help my Thunder to win the West at 70-1 bet come true, hopefully.
All right.
But no, the fourth quarter, it's what you want to see is them execute fourth quarter. It got a little hairy, but in the fourth quarter they missed a couple of shots. They still end up going 8 for 17, which is 47% from the field, and 2 for 8 from 3. So that was where they missed a bunch of good looks, but the mistress, there has never been a more clutch individual, it feels like, than Derek White. 2 of the biggest shots of the game, when we really needed them, gets cut to 6, swings around, Derek White, splash. He answers the bell.
Yeah, never been a better clutch performer, and never been a person where his prior performance up until that point has not had as little a factor, a contributing factor to how he performs throughout the duration of the clutch portion of the game. He was pretty underwhelming, had a couple of nasty turnovers, 2 turnovers in total, and just didn't look like the mistress, the Derek White that we've come and known to love. But then, just pulls it out of his ass, man. Late game, gives it what it needs. Jaylen Brown, multiple bed shitting exhibitions there at times. He's tired. We're going to cut him a break, right?
Struggling. Yeah,
we're going to cut him a break.
He absolutely. He's played so well. He's played the best basketball of his career for the majority of the season up until this last 3 weeks. Or 2 weeks, whatever it is, up until now, he's been playing his best basketball, and it makes sense that he, in particular, is tired, and more so than anybody else, because he's ramped up his defense to a place where it's never been before, and obviously that takes a lot of energy. He ramped up his dunking on everybody. That takes a lot of energy. And then, that's not something that I can personally relate to. Though the rim touching, we'll get there. And then... And then
I was just going to leave that alone.
and then obviously the mental focus it takes for Jaylen Brown to play the right way is different to the mental focus it takes for Derek White to play the right way. Derek White rolled out of the womb making the right play. That's just how he was meant to exist on this universe, was making the right play. And Jaylen Brown, he's just born to get buckets. He's born to be 6'7" and a super athlete. And we're fighting the universe a little bit by opening his mind and teaching him how to play make and to read the game and to slow it down. And even though it wasn't great, there were still moments late where he drove into a crowd after having some made mistakes. He gets deep, pivots, finds Derek for the wide open three, and that's, it's still there. He's still thinking about it.
I think his floor has risen ever so slightly. There's a slight elevation. Maybe it started at the ground floor. Maybe the sea level is now the second floor of the very tall Jaylen Brown building, where the worst is no longer as bad as it's been in the past. And like you just explained, a good example of that, where he's got his flaws, but still came up huge in certain moments late in the game here. I'm officially back at the point though with JB where I sort of breathe a sigh of relief whenever he does, whenever the possession does end successfully, because there's just too many moments where you're like, oh no, he's going to turn it over. Watch out for that guy running up behind you. How is no one calling that out? How are you not aware of that? Unlike everybody else seemingly in the NBA, there's so many moments like that still, that when it does succeed, it does result in even just a completed pass or, a non-turnover or maybe a bucket. It's actually a sigh of relief now. And I don't like being back there because we were away from that point for a while, but here we are again.
Yeah, but especially between today and the Heat game, he struggled obviously mightily in the Heat game, and so that's where we are. We've been scarred. The PTSD from the Jaylen Brown experience, especially game floor 7, very low.
Sorry.
We'll answer that question in a sec. But game 7 floor was very low, so we know that's still in there. But on the Jaylen stuff, he was initiating in the fourth quarter. And everyone's freaking out. And it's everybody wants the Celtics to experiment, to try and find new ways to win. It can't just be Tatum, etc., etc. We have currently a 98% chance of clinching the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, according to playoffstatus.com. Mm-hmm. So the time now is to experiment, rest, get guys experience in different spots, which all sounds great until it's the fourth quarter and Jaylen Brown's had 2 turnovers in a row and a lead is dwindling. It's but these reps are valuable for him. These reps are valuable for him to get in the playoffs, in the regular season, to prepare him for having to do it at times in the playoffs, which he's going to have to do at times. It's not going to be the go-to thing. It's going to be Tatum. It's going to be Porzingis. It's going to be Derek. But we want Jaylen to be able to do this. There's going to be moments, 10 seconds on the shot clock. It's going to happen. It's just how basketball works. The ball is going to end up in his hands in tough spots. These reps are valuable, and he's been fucking awesome initiating this year. He's been elite as a pick-and-roll ball handler throughout the season, and maybe that's something that they could have gone to a bit more, is maybe get more pick-and-rolls as opposed to just ISOs, but the Nets switch everything, which leads you to ISOing more, and then obviously no Porzingis, so you're not getting those easy matchups. That's just, the nature of it.
Yeah, and where everyone's head is at with the Celtics is great, this is awesome, but we've got some scars from, postseasons past. So whatever you're doing, that's awesome. We love it. Please, can we see it in the playoffs? And that applies no better than to Jaylen Brown, I think. And we've seen these great playmaking stretches. We're in a bit of a Jaylen Brown recession at the moment, but we know what the ceiling is at least, or what he's demonstrated that to be thus far. We need to see it in the playoffs, and so practicing and getting those reps, as you say, Jake, in these moments, these sort of doldrum stretches of the regular season, it's critical. So I'm glad that we can, Joe's talked about it already. We can practice these things on the court in live game situations and literally get away with it and still win the game.
Jaylen Brown, look, buy more stock. I've never sold any Jaylen Brown stock. Similar to if you're a Bitcoin holder, you hodl. You hold on for dear life, and you go through the ups and the downs because the highs are so high. And, Jaylen Brown's having a bit of a, as you said, recession right now. 6 turnovers last game, 4 turnovers this game, off-ball defense. We're kind of back. But everything we know about Jaylen Brown is his ability to consolidate and then grow again. So, go through these things. He's as hard on himself as anybody. He knows he's struggling in these last few games. I guarantee you it's going to normalize. We're going to come back from the All-Star break, and we're going to get back to Jaylen Brown that was selected for the All-Star game. But right now, we got to get through one more game before the All-Star break, and then we're going to watch him turn the ball over several times in the All-Star game and probably drop a couple of errant Tatum passes to Jaylen in the dunk contest.
And get away with it.
Probably
still get away with it, as long as Latvian Moses is there to save us.
Exactly. But then we'll come back and he'll be back to it. What up, Mitch? How we doing?
Yeah, shout out to everyone in the chat. If you're here for the first time, hello, welcome. Please subscribe to the First of the Floor YouTube channel. We would love it if you do that. We're so close to 3,000 subscribers, which feels like a big milestone at the moment. I at least get a little notification with every new subscriber. So subscribe and give me that dopamine hit. Hit the like button as well, because doing so helps put this show and our channel in front of more eyeballs, which is what we want. And speaking of the chat, DJ, Daniel, Bennett, Jake, given the choice, who would you prefer on this team, Jaylen Brown or Mikal, I'm assuming, Bridges?
Yes, definitely not Miles Bridges.
What's your answer?
This is a tough one. We have not seen Mikal Bridges in a number 2 role before. Because when he was playing for the Suns, he was truly a role player. It was Booker and CP at the 1 and the 2 by far, and then Ayton, as far as usage, was probably third on that team. But yeah, if Mikal's your third guy, similar to Jaylen, they're honestly they're in the same tier of players. I'm just gonna lean JB. I'm backing my guy. There is a bit of he's a little more secure as a ball handler type guy, but Mikal Bridges' defense has really fallen off since moving to the Nets as his role on offense has increased. Maybe that comes back with a smaller role, but Jaylen's size, Mikal Bridges can be bullied. Mikal Bridges in the post against someone like Tatum, for example, he's going to struggle, but Jaylen's able to scale up in defensive matchups better than someone like Mikal Bridges because of size, but you can't really go wrong, honestly.
Well, I'm glad that you answered with some nuance, Jake, because I'll give the answer that only I can give from the perspective of an emotional Celtics fan, one who, we all have this emotional relationship with the team. It's Jaylen Brown. I'm emotionally invested. We drafted the guy. I remember exactly where I was when he was drafted, and I was complaining on Twitter that it wasn't Chris Dunn. And then obviously we've had the huge emotional 180 and grown up with him as Celtics fans, I think, to some degree. And for him to be replaced at any level and for us to go on without him would be devastating, especially in this, hopefully what we will look back on as the pre-championship era of the Jays. So it's Jaylen Brown for me. But it's a good question because I think they do have differing skill sets, and there's definitely a lot that Bridges could bring to the team that we don't get on a consistent basis from Jaylen Brown. So shout out to the chat for that question.
Give me the 3-time All-Star as opposed to the 0-time All-Star.
Yes, yes. And the All-NBA player.
Mitch, I get it. I think everybody that is struggling to trust Jaylen still is fair to struggle with the PTSD that we received in the playoffs, but I do think his body of work as a playoff performer should speak for itself more so than some of the lows that we've seen. And in this current team's construction, we are better equipped to survive some of his, brain explosion type things.
Yeah. Now, look, getting back to the game, I don't have much from a macro level other than hugely wavering defense, I don't give a fuck defense other than I give the minimum amount of fucks to win this game, defensively speaking. And then offensively, poor Cam Thomas. Torture chamber. He got hot in the second half, but he gave up more than he put back in the hoop, I think, in this one overall, because it felt like it wasn't even getting specific individuals on the Celtics to hunt Cam Thomas, which is whoever is being guarded by Cam Thomas, get that motherfucker the ball. And we're doing that time and time again and just executing, not flawlessly, but with a lot of productivity at a high production rate out of that look. And I haven't watched a lot of Nets games this year, but I have a feeling that's what a lot of teams' strategy is. So hence, poor Cam Thomas. Anything else from a macro level on this one before we get to Tatum?
If you want to beat the Celtics, and you have someone in your closing 5 or someone that plays 30 minutes a night that can be relentlessly hunted, that is just an absolute negative on defense, you're going to struggle to beat this team. Like, if you've got a guy like that, like they can find matchups on guys that are good defenders, let alone someone like Cam Thomas. So it's like, and like they've got multiple guys out there that just like can't guard Tatum, can't guard Jaylen, can't guard Drew. It's just tough. And man, but you know, respect to Cam Thomas, man. He could put the orange ball in the basket, like just. But yeah, I think that's probably fair. He was probably a negative overall.
Let's check.
Yeah, it was.
We do have that data.
Yeah, we got it here.
Yeah, it was a -7, so actually not that bad compared to his teammates.
Yeah. There was a couple of runs from the bench. Our good friend Dennis Schroeder had a couple of cracks there, but yeah. And then talking about poor guys, I mean, poor Ben Simmons did, our countryman.
Oh boy.
I'm even wearing the Australian Boomers T-shirt tonight as an homage. I thought maybe
it's not representative of Ben Simmons.
Jeez, it could not have gone worse, to be honest.
Hacker Simmons
from where he started to now. Hacker, I mean, coming into the game, he was shooting 37.5% from the free throw line, and it actually went up today. Like he ended up 3 for 6.
Okay.
Jim Mazzulla's bullied this man into already sitting out tomorrow in Boston because he knows exactly what's happening tomorrow. It's like, man, like the version of Simmons we always made fun of with Philly because he was a coward and wouldn't refuse to shoot threes. But like that Simmons made an All-NBA team, multiple All-Star teams, was like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, was like one of the best defenders in the NBA, transition monster. Like he is just a ghost of Ben Simmons' past. It actually is pretty sad, honestly. And I actually think that him coming to do training camp and spend the offseason with the Boomers would probably be like the best thing for him to put himself into a positive culture away from the scrutiny of the NBA would be really valuable for him. And then you add on top of that, like the back issues, like it is just like, which I would almost theorize that are probably tied to the mental. It's like not uncommon that like when your mental really struggles across years, you end up with like these back and neck core issues. It's like your brain is connected to your body. And yeah, he needs to go on an ayahuasca trip with Patty Mills in the Northern Territory or something. Yeah,
if that could wait till next year, he's signed for a lot of money through 24, 25. Sure. If that could wait till next year and it could coincide with the Celtics getting him on a vet min as he gets the Aussie Boomers mental reset, now we're talking. And now you could just add that to the Brad Stevens trophy cabinet of glorious acquisitions that we have come to know and love. Jason Tatum.
Oh, man. We've been too long. We waited too long.
Jason Tatum.
Jesus.
We're renaming the podcast to the Jason Tatum Show. 31 points in the first half. He ended with 41, 14 boards, 5 assists, 2 blocks and a steal. His 25th career 40-point game, just 2 turnovers. He also realized that end of the shot clock, turnovers don't count as individual turnovers, Jake, and he held onto the ball at the end of the game rather than like handing it off to Derek White at the last minute and causing him to accrue a turnover. Also 8 of 8 from the line. Second quarter takeover, like just completely took over the game. And in the third quarter, had that rainbow 3 after Jaylen Brown took it into the paint, dribble for like 15 seconds, got nothing out of it, passed it out, walked back towards the bench, clapping at himself, shaking his head at himself, while JT just like rainbows it up, splash, and then turns around and like talks some shit to Russell Wilson courtside and just like walks up the court like the world's biggest boss. It was so fucking awesome, dude. I don't know, Jason Tatum. What can you say, man? It was the best.
Look, this is the guy. And their Miami game, elite, two-way, superstar. I've been banging on about it. Like, the best version of Tatum is the attacking downhill, the rebounding, the defense. That, like, he might be the guy where it's the most obvious out of anybody when he's cranked his defense up to a 10 compared to when it's not. Because when it is cranked up to a 10, like he's easily one of the best wing defenders in the NBA. Like he was swallowing up anybody on the Nets who got the ball. Like Schroeder got the ball with 7 seconds left on the shot clock in the corner and was just like, what am I supposed to do here, dude? And then the ref called a soft foul on another Schroeder flop. Just ridiculous. But, man, this guy, I mean, first team All-NBA is absolutely back on the menu. He'd been playing well through the first 2 months of the season. I kind of had him in that 9, 10, 11 range, which I copped a fair bit of flack for, honestly, to say that he didn't quite reach expectations because before the season, we were like, should be, we expect him to be the 4th best player in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of where the mantle for top 5 is absolutely there for the taking. And when he's playing like this two-way, when he's playing all defense level defense, rebounding at an elite level, and then you add on top that the threes, the 5 from 11 from 3, 8 from 8 from the free throw line. Like, I mean, this is pretty much as complete of a game as you're going to get. Because unlike some other teams, the Celtics are not stat padders. Jason Tatum is not a stat patter. They could have easily started to feed Tatum at some point in this game to try and get him going. And as I alluded to earlier in the show, they decided to do the opposite and felt like they kind of freeze him out there. But man, this guy, and the passing again, the short roll passing. I know Spoonie tweeted about this.
Yep.
Tatum has become so good at hitting guys on the short roll, finding Derek White on the short roll, finding Horford on the short roll, and then guys playmaking out of that. And it's just get the offense moving. There's just so many ways for him to attack, whether it's in the post, from the top of the key, playmaking. Like, it's like, you name the way you can impact the game, and Jason Tatum is doing it.
Yeah, I feel like that was the whole beginning of, like, the first half of the third quarter was all that short roll play and Tatum just like finding guys. Derek White is particularly good at making that short roll, making himself available for the catch, and then playmaking out of it. Or like there were a couple of times where the seas just parted for him and he got like straight to the hoop later in the game. Yeah, so they were getting a lot out of that, and Tatum just like feeding guys in that position. It's just one of the many areas that he's made an insane improvement in. He's just cooking right now. And we've seen that. I think it's more common than we realize, where stars, particularly younger stars, have to remember he's only 25, their production does waver as the season goes on because it's such a long season. And we're so quick to jump down their throats when they have a bad stretch of like 3 games. But now, you know, fans are quiet out there because he's been pretty awesome for like close to 10 games. We'll say like 7. I think 7 games was the sample size we used to highlight his awesome passing on the last podcast that we did. So we'll say 7 or 8 games. Like, he's just been like quietly fucking awesome, which is great. And can he keep that energy for the postseason? Remains to be seen, but history says he can and he will. And I can't fucking wait. Kind of wishing away the season a little bit here, Jake. I'm sorry to say.
We're it's hard. And like, and you could totally understand why these guys are going through ebbs and flow of focus and effort. Like, when they're so far ahead now for the 1 seed, and you're just in this and we've been to the playoffs, we've done the regular season, we've gotten the first team All-NBAs. We know what's important here. We're all healthy. Like, could the playoffs start tomorrow? That would be pretty good for the Celtics. That's for sure. And so, you know, get them to the All-Star break. The schedule out of the All-Star break is actually, that's the toughest part of the schedule. Like, there is a stretch. The Bulls is the first game I know out of the break. The Knicks are next. We'll see who is actually on that team, whether OG or Randall are back. And the Sixers, they know Embiid. But then Mavs, Warriors, Cavs, Nuggets, Suns. That 5-game stretch right there, that's like a serious 5-game stretch. And so, like, I think that's good. You get a couple of, you know, you get the easier one with the Bulls out the break, shake off some of the rust, and then all of a sudden you get like big marquee matchups against Luka, Steph. I mean, you know, the Warriors have quietly won 5 in a row here. I guarantee, like, they're fighting for their playoff lives. Like, they're gonna need to win that game. That game's gonna suck emotionally probably, but you know, we're gonna have a chance to get up for a game like that, and that's what we're gonna want to see coming out of the break and towards the end of the regular season. Is, yes, we want them to go 20 games straight, just 18-2, just ripping people apart. But I think we should probably expect, you know, not that, and for them to do what they've been doing against some of the weaker teams. But then, like, hopefully you're up for the Warriors, Cavs, Nuggets, Suns. And, like, as we've seen so far, as we saw with the Heat game, they have been getting up for those specific games. The Nuggets game, which they lost by 2. It's wild to see how well Tatum has played recently, and then like that Nuggets game, just like couldn't find it. But the Nuggets will come to town. So Steph,
we'll go to their town. We'll be in Colorado for that one.
Oh, true.
Altitude.
So
Game 2 of the Denver Cup.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, do you get extra points for winning on the road, or?
No, it's just a stupid concept that I continue to push that nobody cares about. But yeah, so there is that brutal stretch of the season. After the Nuggets, it's the Suns. You hit the Jazz, who have wavered a little bit. Suns again. But then you break through to like the outer rim of this season's universe, to use a terrible analogy. And then it's like Wizards, Pistons, Bucks, Pistons, Bulls, Hawks, Pelicans, Hornets. Like the season really opens up there as far as easier matchups. And I think there's enough of a smattering. Like after that, you've got the Thunder and the Knicks before the season wraps. There's enough games to get up for that you hopefully maintain some momentum. But they were talking about this on the Garden Report, Jake, and I am one of the more neurotic Celtics fans, and I'm not worried about their rhythm come the playoffs, because I think there's enough experience within this team, and you add additional experience with Drew Holiday that I feel like they know what they're doing as far as like understanding the rhythm of the season and making sure that they're at where they need to be when they start the postseason. So even though the schedule really drops off in terms of strength of schedule, I'm not worried about how that might impact the postseason, if that makes sense. Absolutely.
Like there's always going to be the old rust versus rest theory, but give me rest every day of the week. Like even though we might end up with a good team in round 1, like that team will have been fighting for their playoff lives coming down the stretch of the regular season, and then we'll have played 2 more play-in games. Because like because we're the 1 seed, whoever plays that 8 seed will have either won the 9-10 and then won the 8-9, or lost the 7-8 and then wins the 8-9 or whatever. So like they will have played 2 extra games where we will be rested and ready to go. Like, who knows? Maybe we lose game 1 of the playoffs, which would just be so terrifying. That was to be.
It will be a bit of an awakening though, right? Because here I am saying I'm not worried. Like they've got this much experience now. They're not going to be their old selves when it comes to the playoffs. They've learnt from their mistakes, and then they could lose game 1 against the 8 seed, the play-in like loser, I guess. Yeah. And suddenly it's like, oh my God, I'm awake again. I've realized everything I used to know about this team. So I'm terrified for that potential reality. Just to finish the Tatum stuff, Dick Lipe had this, the Celtics stat after the game. Tatum is the first player in Celtic history to have at least 40 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 3-pointers in a game. The last NBA player to achieve those marks was Luka Doncic twice in February of 2022. So elite company. Should we sort of move through the individual performances in this game? I've got a question for you because it doesn't have the easiest answer, I think. Tatum was amazing. Who was the second best Celtic in this game?
I was going to say, before we move on, though, we do have a juicy video that I know you uploaded that we haven't gotten to yet. So.
Yeah, which I've completely ignored. Yeah. Do you want to roll it?
Oh, yeah, let's roll it. I mean, this is not for us. This is for you guys, obviously.
Of course.
Jason, the Brooklyn Nets would not go away. How did you guys close this game out?
Just respond to that run. I say it all the time. NBA players are good. They're going to make shots. It's just our job to respond, and I think we did a good job of that.
In the end, you finished with 41 points, but 31 in the first half in 19 minutes. What keyed that for you?
I got some easy ones. I got out in transition. I got some free throws. I got some kickouts on open threes. So I was just in a good rhythm.
And then in the second half, how were you able to impact the win in other ways?
Kind of being a decoy sometimes. I knew, I had 31. They were going to guard me differently. So, trying to get assists, hockey assists, move the ball, try to manipulate the defense.
I'm also supposed to ask you what you said to Russell Wilson after you hit that long 3 in the third.
I ain't say nothing to him. I said something to my other friend over there, Mr. Morgan. That's a good friend of mine, so I was just talking to him.
Is that who'd your jersey end up with?
So I gave my jersey to Russell Wilson and then Sierra's son. He said he was a big fan, so I gave it to him.
That sounds fair. Finally, you guys have won 6 straight on the road. What do you like best about the way you're playing?
Just that we take it one game at a time, right? We approach every day as we're trying to get better, regardless of who's out, who we're playing. 2 o'clock game, 7:30 game. We try to approach each game the same way.
Jason, thank you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Presented by your New England Ford dealers. Built for America. Built Ford proud.
Accidental ad at the end there.
Ooh.
No affiliation with Ford.
Jeez.
Woo!
Man. Look,
Did you pay any attention to what was said?
I gotta get to the gym.
Yeah,
I gotta
dude.
get to the gym, dude. Look, yeah, unsurprising. The guy that's able to play the most minutes in the NBA looks like that. It is wild. Like I know I'm not trying to make the mistress jealous here, but yeah, what was he talking about? I liked his focus on like trying to get better. Yada yada. He look, this guy could easily run for president. Like he's just kind of saying the right things. Or you cannot catch this guy saying the wrong thing. And I don't know if people saw the initiative he launched today about with SoFi about donating over $1 million to single parents and down payments for homes. Like on that show, he's just like President Tatum, just smooth, man. Abby doing her best job to stay cool, calm, and collected there as well. I would have been a puddle on the ground there, but
she's a professional. Eyes locked in on the subject's eyes, Tatum's eyes. No problems. Abby's great.
Yeah, there's been a random spike in Ford F-150s in women 25 to 100.
Of course. Yeah, I just ordered one as well.
Yeah. Definitely not my demographic.
No idea why.
I was just going to say, like, you know, we've been talking about, like, the down stretch, and now all of a sudden the Celtics have the longest active winning streak in the NBA at 5 in a row. The Mavericks and Warriors also have 5 wins in a row. Hottest team in the league, the Cleveland Cavaliers, lose to the 76ers without Joel Embiid, without Tobias Harris. Like, and the Celtics they cop one bad loss to the Lakers, and we're like, shit. And then what do? They win 5 in a row. And, like, I was hard on myself, right? Like, I tweet out before that Lakers game, we could be looking at a 14-game winning streak here. And if we don't lose that Lakers game, then we're up to 8. Mm-hmm. So we're still on track to do pretty well over that stretch. But yeah, Jason Tatum, very good. A big fan.
Huge fan, massive fan. Now, look, we've got close to 80 people here. So while you're here, please, I mean, you can scan this QR code if you like. We've just opened up a Discord channel as of a week ago. We've got close to 80 people in there already, and it's become basically my like primary wake up and check this thing in the morning just because it's a good hang. It's a good vibe. You can scan this QR code and get access to all our socials, Jake's Twitter, Wayne Spoonie's Twitter. And speaking of Jake's Twitter, I'm just going to tease this because we're going to get to it a little bit later, but Jake has, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, I'm sure you have, completely blown up on Twitter. Look at that, 411k views already, going at Perk's takes on the Celtics' lack of post-ups. Just teasing that because we're going to get to that at the end. It's so good. Like, it's awesome. Like, it's so, I don't know if you feel this way, Jake, and we'll save the rest till later, but because we're operating from such a distance here in Australia, whenever you do have a tweet or whatever that gets kind of swept up in the Celtics like newsverse, it's such a good feeling because you feel like you're shouting from so far away that when you do get like sucked into the vortex, it's a wonderful feeling.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And I suppose we can get to that soon, but anything else from the game? I got a few missed points that I jotted down while I was watching you guys do playback, playback.tv/Celtics blog.
Yes,
sign up.
join us.
Any other points from the game before we move on?
I would just like to talk about Al Horford. I mean, perfect once again. So Al Horford has played in 13 games this season without Kristaps Porzingis. Numbers in those games: 10.2 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 1.3 blocks, 50% from the field, 43% from 3. Like, he has just been perfect in a 6-man role, energy guy, and every time Kristaps is resting, and this back-to-back plan, it's like, yeah, we don't have KP, but we get play. You know who we get? This is who we get when KP's on there.
In this kind of atmosphere,
playoff Al, baby, playoff Al.
Hey.
Yes, playoff Al. He's laying in wait, and he came out and showed us his beautiful eyes in this game because KP was out, but he's there waiting to pounce on this title this year in the playoffs. I love it. He's so good when he needs to be.
And I hit the FanDuel parlay today. We had and whenever KP's out, you always go on Horford, rebounds, assist, points. It's like money in the bank, and he didn't let me down today either. But like big shots, the defense, like everything you need from Al Horford, he just gives it to you. I honestly don't have anything else to say about Al besides like it's clear that we're going to get playoff Al. We're going to get leveled up version of Al in the playoffs, and the plan that they're on right now, like, is working. I love the way that they're resting Al on back-to-backs again. Like, he plays too many minutes tonight, 36, 35, but he's not playing tomorrow. And that's,
Exactly.
And that's the whole point. So now Al Horford doesn't play tomorrow, and he has, like, almost a full 2 weeks off, it feels like. So, like, that plan, keeping his minutes down at 25 minutes per game, like, it's just this dynamic duo, this 1-2 punch of Horford and Porzingis, and they're able to manage both guys' health really, really well. And like, he's clearly so bought in. And like, when you see Al Horford playing like the way that he is today, I absolutely know that everybody else loves to see. I know Tatum. I think Tatum saw Al Horford cooking early, playing great defense, and was like, oh man, I gotta step up for the OG. If this is how Al Horford's playing, I gotta follow suit here. Not unlike Game 4 in Milwaukee, Al Horford elbowing Giannis in the face, which leads to the Jason Tatum explosion later in the game. He's just doing his thing.
Yeah, dude was perfect from the floor in this game, and defensively solid as well. He had 5 assists, a bunch of boards as well. Just again, someone who gives the game what it needs. 4 assists and a steal and 6 boards. But early we went to Al in the paint and just post up opportunities galore there. With enough spacing otherwise to get guys like Claxton out of the paint and get guys to switch on to Al. So that was huge. And we found those seams early. The Nets did adjust and Al got less looks throughout the game. But that's the great thing about Al. He's totally cool with that. And then he'll just like camp in the corner, space the floor, defend the shit out of everybody, switch as a 37-year-old human being onto guys like Cam Thomas and play really good defense. There were a couple of like key, unfortunately, we were in this situation. We had key defensive possessions late in the game despite being up like 25 earlier, where it was Cam Thomas ISOing on one side of the court with Al as the primary defender and Tatum as the secondary defender. And those two guys who have been playing together for 7 years, like, just shut down as two people an entire quadrant of the court on their own, and Cam Thomas just had absolutely no hope on multiple possessions. There's like nothing that feels better as a Celtics fan, like a deep cut of Tatum and Al just shutting down a huge portion of the court. So that was great. Drew Holiday, 12 assists in this one. His assists high as a Celtic. We've never hesitated to criticize Drew, I think, as maybe the player in the core 6 who's floundered the most as far as settling into the groove of their role. Lately, I don't know, maybe it's just recency bias on my part, as I have a tendency to like see 1 or 2 awesome things and be like, it's fixed, everything's awesome now, Jake. But it does feel like Drew has maybe gradually started to figure things out here. Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
That's going to take me a bit longer to get all the way there with you.
We've had this a little bit lately.
Yeah. You're willing to trust a little quicker than I am.
Yeah, and Spoonie as well, apparently.
That's good. It's a good character trait. You want to be trusting in this world. But Drew, look, I mean, what can you say? Like, he had a couple of moments mentally, which I think we just have to expect. But in the Heat game, what is he, 5 for 6 from 3? And then today again, 6 for 10, 2 for 4 from 3. Like, it doesn't almost matter what else he does. If he's going to shoot this well from 3, then it doesn't matter. The fact that he is 60+% from the corners is just an outrageous thing that I did not see coming. I knew that he was a better shooter than Marcus Smart, and the theory of like him not being in a as high usage spot as he has been with the Bucks over the last couple of years, especially with Middleton injured, is that his efficiency could go up. And from a shooting perspective, I mean, he's just shooting the shit out of the ball. Like, I'm getting to a point now where I was with Sam Hauser earlier in the year, where every time it leaves his fingertips, I'm just like, that thing's going down. The 12 dimes, gonna be honest, my eyes did not register that.
Neither.
When watching the game.
Very happy to see it in the box score.
Yeah, like he definitely had some short roll stuff as well. But like, love to see that. I mean, the Celtics as a whole, right? We had a lot of assists tonight, 31 assists as a team on 43 made field goals, which is just, those are elite numbers. And so, hey man, it's not even a question. He is the best fifth man, Beth man on the team.
I agree.
He's incredible, dude. Like it's a ridiculous luxury. Absurd that Drew Holiday, who was an all-star a year ago, is doing what he's doing. And the defense over the last 2 games has been the best it's looked in a couple of weeks as well. And I mean that if
that's a high bar.
Yeah, if you're gonna play defense at this level and shoot the shit out of the ball like he's doing, then like fucking good luck, man.
Other missed points. Luke Cornett, emphatic one-handed dunk. That was sick.
Enjoyed
Hacker
that.
Simmons, we talked about. What else we got here? So Ben Simmons goes back to the bench after being hacked and missing one of his free throws and puts on a Chinese New Year themed t-shirt. Like, where's this self-awareness from the production team, from the Nets team? Like, what's come on, guys. We can't put these guys in that position, right, Jake?
There's never been a get ready to learn Chinese buddy moment more
multiples
than right there. Like what? Like they've got him up on the screen learning Chinese. They've got him putting the Chinese shirt on as he goes back to the bench after missing the free throws. Oh man,
it's not right.
He'll be good for the Beijing Sharks. So,
Sydney Kings. Maybe he could play for Jason Tatum's dad in Illawarra.
Oh, I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
Probably afford him.
They will be able to soon.
What else? Any other missed points, Jake? I've got like two more.
I don't really have anything from this game, really. O'Shea was 1 for 4 from the free throw line. Despite I thought I giving the game relatively good energy. I'm excited for Tillman to kind of come in and be, DJ Daniel, you and me speaking the same language.
Yep.
Tillman's taken O'Shea minutes. He can play with Al and Porzingis. So, they're different players. That's like the whole point of the Tillman move is to bring in a guy that is different and gives you another look, but is also elite in ways that O'Shea is not. Granted, free throw shooting not something that Tillman will be giving us, but that's okay.
No, plenty else though for his price point, which is what we want. All right, so let's get to some spice here. So I guess we'll start with this clip from Kendrick Perkins, who went on TV, I guess, yesterday, Jake, and had some opinions on the Celtics post-up numbers. And when we come back, we'll talk about, Jake, your Twitter interaction with Dan Greenberg and Kendrick Perkins as well, which has been awesome to watch.
But when you also have their personnel, I would love to see more post-ups from the wings and the guards. When you think about Jason Tatum, 6'9", 6'10", wide shoulders, and his variety of moves that he have on that low block and mid-post areas. Drew Holiday is an underrated post guard, post player in the league. When he gets a player of his size, his strength and his ability to get to his spots is so underrated. It's times where you see Jaylen Brown somewhat disappear throughout the offense. So again, it's about finding that balance and not just being a three-point shooting team, because if those threes are not falling, what else are you going to lean on? And I feel like they have the personnel to do it. They just have to get it done and start practicing it now.
Okay, so
shout out Perk.
Yeah, shout out Perk. We love Perk. He won a title in Boston, so we love the guy. Here's Jake's tweet. Perk, the Celtics don't post up enough. They have nothing to rely on if the threes don't go in. The Celtics in the post this season, post-up frequency, good for second in the league at 7.3%. Post-up efficiency, first in the league at 1.17 points per play, points per possession. Either way, very good. And then Jake, subsequently, there's been a bit of a lot of spice on Twitter. So can you walk us through it? What's happening there?
Look, what I'll often do is like I'll make some of this content because I'll do it at night and then I'll schedule it for like somewhere between 3 and 5 a.m. my time, because that's like when everybody's ready to rock and roll on Twitter.
That's the pocket.
So I often wake up and I'm like, I wonder what's happened. I wonder what's going on. And that thing went to the moon a little bit today, and it's just frustrating. But I firstly got to thank Perk, and maybe I understand why ESPN has paid this man $1.5 million. Because hey, man, he moves the needle. He moves the needle. He gets the likes. He gets the clicks. So I got to thank him for that. But like, it's crazy to me to like be on TV and be talking about basketball every day and just like not like know that you're doing a Celtics game. Know that your team, like you're always going to be associated with the Celtics and not know like what you're talking about. Like to go out there and say they don't post up enough. They only win when the threes don't go in. When so many, like there's so many ways to disprove what the fuck he's talking about. And yeah, he actually makes, that's what I saw on Twitter. I don't know if that's actually true about 1.5 million. But yeah, and hey, Celtics Twitter enjoyed that one. And the captain of Celtics Twitter, Dan Greenberg, our fearless leader, do we have it? Do we have it in here? But no, I don't think we uploaded that one. But he retweeted it, which is more Celtics post up propaganda. And then Perkins, he comes in, and they have a little back and forth. I'm waiting for my call from Perkins, but apparently Perkins and Dan Greenberg have spoken on the phone.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's because Perkins, maybe he should be able to afford the international dial-up, but maybe he's just struggling to get that one approved by the expense department.
Make a collect call, Per.
Yeah, exactly. I'll accept.
We'll pay for it.
Yeah. The First of the Floor podcast fund can handle the collect
check it
call.
on the credit card.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's crazy to me. Like, I wish he would have replied directly to me. That would have been like even cooler to have my own back and forth with Perkins. Because I like to think that I wouldn't back down. Because I didn't say anything disrespectful to Perkins or anything. It was just like, this is what you said, and this is disproving everything that you said. And I had a great time.
It was the Richard White, just like, here are the facts.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even being a dick. Just like, here are the actual fucking facts, Kendrick Perkins, which is what you did. And that's fine. So that was really good to see. I love it. And then it kind of surfaced again with Joe Mazzulla's postgame where let's just run the clip and then we'll react to it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked over the last week or so. We definitely think we need to post more. I don't think we're posting enough. And so Al's kind of been good at getting those mismatches and the guys have been able to find them.
Why is that something you feel like you should emphasize more?
I was joking. We're second in frequency and first in efficiency.
Let's go, dude.
So we had an exchange in our Discord privately before the pod being like, is this a real quote when it was just a written version on Twitter? And we were like, no, probably not. That's insane. And of course, it is a real quote, which we're very happy to play to you just now. So it's gotten back to your words, Jake, have gotten back to Joe. And you're part of like the meta Celtics verse.
He absolutely saw the clip today because of me. I think that he saw my tweet because like this clip didn't come out until this was like the post game of the Heat game, I think. So I kind of made this like 2 days later.
It's the best.
It was two word for word. Like it has to be. So I don't know. This is crazy. And like also thank you to everybody listening and watching and liking because like. For this tweet to even be able to blow up and for Perkins and Greenberg to see it, like, is because you guys are following and liking and, like, pushing this stuff out there. And, like, the idea that the Celtics or whoever on the staff has been, like, showed this to Joe probably, like, is very, very cool and very, very weird and very, very, it fills me with hope that one day we're going to have some of these guys on the podcast. After they win the title, we're going to get Joe on the podcast and we're going to troll everybody because he wants to just rip everybody to shreds. But man,
couple of failed attempted interactions with Celtics PR where they claim everyone on the Celtics side is very busy, which is hard to imagine. But we'll keep trying to bring someone from the Boston Celtics on the show for all of you guys. Well, honestly, well done, Jake. That's just, it's the best. I love it so much. Should we get to some Schadenfreude? We're running long, so I won't run the clip, but I will tease that we do have a new Schadenfreude report intro coming, probably on the next pod. So you may have seen the original intro for the last time. The Bucks, they lost to the very injury-riddled Heat today, Jake, which proves a few things. Again, that the Bucks are terrible and that we are better than the Bucks having just beaten that same Heat team, right? It's that simple. Am I wrong?
Where even are they now? Like they are now 7.5 games back from the Celtics. They are closer to the 8 seed than the 1 seed. That is absurd.
Love to hear it.
How is that even possible, dude? Like
they're not very good.
They're bad, and two, we're unbelievable. Like, they're 4-6 in their last 10. They had their best win of the season yesterday against the Nuggets. The Nuggets have been kind of in a weird place. Like, it's absolutely the Celtics take everybody's best shot. The Bucks aren't getting. I watched that game. Jamal Murray was not hitting. Let me ask you, who's a better perimeter defender? Dame Lillard, Malik Beasley, Jay Crowder, or Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Derek White? Like, you don't even need to answer it. It's fucking not Dame Lillard. Jamal Murray's not able to shoot 80% on fall-away jumpers. Their starters were like a combined 4 for 20 from 3. Give credit to the Bucks, like big win at home against the Nuggets. Like, they needed that badly, but they blew that team out, and they didn't have to play heavy minutes. And then they get the Heat the next day. It's like, okay, well, we know it'd be nice. Can we string two good games together for the first time? What feels like all season. And listening to the Zach Lowe podcast, it's like his biggest question, number one on the list, was, what are the Bucks? Who are the Bucks? Are they good? Are they bad? I think we are feeling like they're bad. I still might have them as the second most threatening team purely because of how good Giannis is. Like, there's just not anyone else in the East that's going to touch him in a playoff series outside of Tatum. I just don't think Embiid's going to be able to get back to full strength by then. But, like, they just can't string two good games together. Like, the Jimmy Butler-is, no Terry Rozier, no Josh Richardson. Nothing. Nada. Zilch.
But
terrible.
Their personnel do act as, I think Sam LaFrance had this, like, as the hive mind of Coach Spoelstra, which is like almost like, regardless of the personnel out there, they're just the extension of his amazingly large and intelligent brain. And when it comes to a team as dog shit as the Bucks, then the hive mind of Spoelstra wins almost every time. So I hope that they come up against each other at some point in the playoffs, because as much as I don't think the Heat are what they used to be and the Celtics have elevated themselves from what they used to be, there are still those demons there. I would love to avoid the Heat in the playoffs, even though ultimately I think we would win that series in like fucking 5 games, man. But Patrick Beverley not moving the needle there in terms of the perimeter defense for the Bucks. Early days, maybe he should spend less time rocking up with Happy Meals to Barstool free throw competitions and more time focusing with Doc.
As an aside, that was not something I expected to see ever in my life. Great idea, like hilarious to try and break the whatever there was 41 free throws in a row record for a group of people or something, and they're like 8 hours into it, and then Pat Bev walks in 1 a.m. Coke and a Happy Meal. He's like hyping up these like random weird humans at the free throw line. Like, I can't lie, it was a good thing to have on a second screen while I was like making some content. And I was just like, this is outrageous. He played today though. Pat Bev played today. Like, when I saw him walk in, I'm like, I understand Milwaukee. I'm not a USA geographer, but where the Milwaukee Bucks play home games is not in Chicago.
Yeah.
And their office is in Chicago. And I'm like...
It's close, though.
How close is close, though?
I think
in the chat. Surely
I've been to Chicago, and as the plane was landing, the little map on the seat in front of me, like Milwaukee was right there. So I think they're maybe on opposite sides of some lake, maybe Lake Michigan. Someone from the US can correct me.
Someone in the chat knows the answer to this, dude.
Yeah, they're close. They're close.
I'm looking up in Google Maps.
And I also think the average NBA bedtime is like 4 a.m. They basically work nights. True.
Yeah. I was just surprised because I love McDonald's and eating bad food here and there, but I was like, oh, hell yeah, dude. Patrick Beverley, who is someone that, like, the only reason he's in the league is because of his, like, insane work ethic and psychotic mindset. Like, a guy that's 6'1", not that athletic, and, like, not an elite shooter or anything like that, has able to give himself, like, a 10-plus year NBA career. I would just assume he's, like, super religious with his, whatever it's called, diet. 90-minute drive, according to Google Maps here. Okay. Not bad.
His free throw form, because I watched a couple of the shots of the Barstool guys who went before him, and like even though Pat Bev is like not like a remarkable NBA player, especially at this point in his career, just like night and day, so professional, and just like the repetition on his goosenecks, it looked fucking sexy. It was great to see.
Oh, dude.
Even though he missed one, and then there was like the stifled laugh in the background
yeah.
as he missed one early. That was funny. The only other thing I have from a Schadenfreude perspective, Jake, is Grant Williams thriving in Charlotte.
Well, this is
he's
weird,
like
right?
killing it off the bench.
Yeah, so he's had 2 good games, right, to start his career in Charlotte. Look, man, if he all of a sudden goes back to like playing competently in Charlotte, and again, like competently in Charlotte, depending on what that looks like, and he took shots at Luka too, like
After the game?
after the game, he was like, or not directly. You got to read between the lines a little bit. Be like, well, you know, play for a team that likes to share the ball, trust your teammates, etc. Not something that has been not something that has come out of players' mouth for the first time playing with Luka. Mm-hmm. And this is what makes Tatum so different to Luka, and like he's such a malleable superstar. Like he can play high usage. Like he's not going to score 50 and 60 points at the moment on this team, and he's not going to force the issue. Like he's not going to score 73. Like we might get to a point in like 3 or 4 years, 5 years, hopefully never, but Al Horford will be gone. Drew Holiday will probably be gone, and there's going to be like a Tatum and co team where Tatum's in his late 20s, early 30s, and he's going to have to be more high usage, and we're probably going to see a year where he averages 31, 32, 33 and has more 50, 60 point games. If you remember that span of time where it was like the year they were the 7th seed, you know, Tatum has 50 points in the play-in game against the Wizards. He has 50 points against the Nets. Yeah, Nets. One of my favorite Tatum games. To take down that big 3 of Kyrie, Harden, and Kevin Durant. He had 60 against the Spurs. Like all in a there was like a most 50-point games for a player under this age type stats from Tatum. Yeah. And we haven't seen that since then because that's not the type of player that he is. And Luka, like, is incredible and magical as he is. Like, you can't compare Tatum's like feel and IQ and shot creation and making ability to someone like that. But the way that they play the game and from a team perspective, defense, conditioning, so many reasons. So far, it's pretty objectively like Tatum's way leads to winning more than Luka's does.
Well, Tatum also befriends the guy as well, despite multiple reports of him being kind of annoying. Just taking it further, off the court, where allegedly, reportedly, Grant ruffled some feathers across the franchise in Dallas, and meanwhile, Tatum's warming up with the guy one-on-one before every game, bringing him to parties, let's be honest, that he has no business attending.
No business.
And just like bringing him into his world and making him feel like a beloved person, which clearly he is not. So Tatum just better on all fronts when compared to Luka Doncic. Let's be honest.
Who is more fish out of water? Like Grant being at the Michael Rubin party, like the white party, or like us being at Grant's birthday party? Like I'm not like I feel like there's similar like. Would it be less surprising considering we've interviewed Grant's dad on the podcast? It's like, it's a bit random, but they do a Celtics podcast.
Let's get the boys.
Yeah,
Grant Williams get the boys involved.
Get the boys involved. Like we could get a couple of snags on the barbie and we're ready to go.
Yeah, Aussie vibes. Yeah,
exactly. Down in Charlotte, it'd be a good time. But but like Grant being in like the 0.00001 party was very funny.
It was, yes. So anyway, I'm glad to see him having a better time there in Charlotte, and it's on the Schadenfreude report because of the the disdain that Tatum showed towards Grant. I think in the Dallas game, I think is fair to say, and kind of the disdain that like league wide has been shown towards Grant, and probably the vindication of I think you, Jake. To be fair, I was much more pro Grant when he departed, but I think a lot of people have gotten on that train as like it's an addition by subtraction with Grant. Leaving essentially. I have nothing else. I think we've had a good time. We're about to hit the hour mark. Jason Tatum is awesome. The Celtics win again.
Indeed.
Anything else before we wrap up, Jake?
No, I think that's it. It's first to the floor versus Kendrick Perkins. The Celtics are back on a 5-game winning streak. We're 6 games clear of the 2 seed. We are 4 games clear of the overall 1 seed in the entire NBA, and like 6 games is more to catch, like more games obviously, but the West is so competitive, kind of 1 through 12, that like I just think it's going to be difficult for Timberwolves, Clippers, Nuggets, or Thunder to catch the Celtics just because they're going to be playing more games. So Celtics win.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And like Jesse says in the chat here, let's end the season on a high note. Beat these guys. We're obviously very capable. The Bear Slayer, the Latvian Moses, is going to be back. And fingers crossed, please don't get hurt.
Porzingis tomorrow. Let's get it done. Another 25-9. Let's do it.
I did invite him on the show. He hasn't taken up the invite, but we'll continue to put ourselves out there and see what happens. All right. Playback tomorrow, Jake?
Playback tomorrow. Myself and Robbie will be live for Celtics Nets. Go 6 in a row. And if we win tomorrow, we will go from being on pace for 63 wins to on pace for 64 wins. So,
love it.
Let's get it done.
Playback.tv/Celtics blog. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Celtics Late Night. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone in the chat, please hit that like button. We love hanging out with you guys after games here for Celtics Late Night. Jake, love your work, mate. Go Celtics.